0, 1.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be working on the little white truck again and try and get that thing wrapped up. We're going to take care of the oil pan clearance from the front differential finally. So that's the plan today. Let's see how far we can get. So went ahead and bit the bullet, so to speak, and got a small lift springs for the front of this thing. These are advertised as a 3-inch lift, so we're going to go ahead and put those on there. And then we got a really nice little kit. Came with the I believe there's lift blocks for the back. Came with all the U-bolts, shocks, pretty much everything you're going to need to lift this thing up. I really didn't want to lift this truck, but it was either that or pull the motor out. I'm too damn far down the road to do that, so let's go ahead and get going on this. Alright, so I got the tires off this thing. Figure I'll start with the rear first. And initial assessment, I think everything should be okay. The only thing I'm concerned about is the brake hose. So I'm probably going to have to take and cut this and extend it. Since I don't really want to make another brake line, I could probably just bend this thing down here and extend this bracket, so that way I still have this. That lift block's like 2 inches or 3 inches, something like that. That ain't gonna reach. So I think probably what I'll do is I'll cut this first, and then I'm gonna cut this whatever the hell it is, metering block. Anyhow, I'm gonna cut this off. I'll get rid of this shit. Don't need it anymore. And I'll probably mount it upward to give it the max amount of braking. And then that seems to be about all I got to really worry about. There's plenty enough slack with the park and brake cable. I should be able to get away with that. And yeah, so everything else looks like it's going to work out a-okay. So that's the only hurdle I really got to do, which is no big deal. Just a piece of flat bar ought to take care of that, no problem. Easy peasy. Interesting development. You know it's freaking cold out here when you got to put the transmission jack in front of the pellet stove to warm the fluid up for it to work. I mean, it's not that cold in here. It's probably 15 degrees outside, and I bet you it's probably 30 in here. So it's way warmer in here than it is outside, but I just thought it was pretty funny that, hey, there we go, now it's starting to work. That hydraulic fluid was so cold that it wouldn't even pump. Good times. Anyhow, I guess while I got the camera on, I got this cut. I got this cut and out of the way. So we're gonna go ahead and get the jack over here, and we'll take the shocks off, undo the U-bolts, and yeah, this should be pretty straightforward. Well, I got the shocks off the back. Check this out. There's no fluid in that thing at all. Yeah. Wow. Alright, so I got the block in there, and I forgot about the park and brake cable. Oh, here's shine a light on there. So the park and brake cable, you're going to need to unhook this and then run it underneath of the spring. It's not under a bind or anything like that, but yeah, I'll have to take this pin out and just run it underneath. Not a huge deal, but worth mentioning. As a side note, as you can see, I've already got this side in. So what I did is I used this screw jack to hold that in place, because that'll keep the rear end from moving. As long as that pin is still, from the leaf spring, is still in the diff, that will keep the axle from spinning. And then as a precaution, I also put this ratchet strap underneath of the pinion, just in case it did pop out of there. I didn't want this whole thing rolling forward and have a big old problem, because I just got it sitting on the transmission jack and with my little my shim, and just to give you an idea of what I did. But now that this side's together, I should be golden. All I gotta do is lower this side down, and we'll pop that block in there and put the shocks on. We'll be done. Not too shabby. All right, got her all together. Here's the other side. I got the shocks in, and I got the shocks in on this side. And so as far as this brake line goes, that little bracket came with the kit, and the instructions didn't really say anything about what it's for. And yes, I did read the instructions for all the ladies out there that say guys don't read the instructions. Anyhow, it didn't say what the hell that was for. So instead of cutting some flat strap and welding it in there and all that, it already had pre-drilled holes. So I just drilled a couple holes and voila. I mean, it's nice and sturdy. It ain't going anywhere. Not any more than it did before. And it should be, this is at pretty much full droop, so should be good to go. Oops. And I just zip tied that up to the up position, and which I'm assuming is going to give me full braking. And I left this on here just because if I change my mind later on and I want to run this stupid thing, then yeah, which I probably won't, but whatever. So anyhow, the rear is done. All right, so the instructions say to do one side at a time, which, all right, fair enough, we'll do one side at a time. So I figured I'd go with the easy side first. We'll do the passenger side. Same deal. Take the shocks out, take the U-bolts out. Usually the hard part, well, it isn't yet, is getting these out. Because a lot of times they'll get seized to the bushing and they won't want to come out. But the bolt breaker for the win again. Well, that's, I just can't say enough good stuff about that that penetrating oil. In case you're wondering what I'm talking about, this stuff here. Not a sponsor of the channel at all, but boy, this stuff really works frickin' well. Especially if you have like exhaust bolts that you need to get loose. This stuff works really well. Anyhow, so I sprayed all this stuff down earlier to try and help get it apart, and seemed to work pretty well. Now I just got to get this back one. So these rear shackles on the Toyota, so you have the the upper piece, or you have the inner piece, and then these go through. So I'm hoping that one of these will budge, because even if I have to slide this whole thing out, that's fine. I could put it on the table, and or ideally this one will break free, and then I can just slide the spring out and slide the new one in. That would be really ideal. But they've been on here since 1985, so quick math, it's 2025, so that's 40 years they've been on here. This thing must really want to lift, because it's come apart pretty easy. Anyhow, let's see what happens with this bottom piece here. She slid right off. Unbelievable. That's insane. I just can't believe that came apart so easy. Okay, so now to go back together. I always like to put anti-seize on this stuff to keep the rubber from sticking to the metal super bad. So I'll goop this stuff up in anti-seize, at least for the bushing part of it. I'm going to clean this up a little bit, and I'll anti-seize the hell out of this too. Just really, not that I plan on taking this thing apart again, but if I ever have to, it really helps out a lot. And it's not like it takes a lot of effort to lube it up really quick. So anyhow, I've had really good luck with anti-seize, so that's what I roll with. Okay, I got the spring in. I'm not really thrilled with this shackle angle at all, but they are not broke in at all, and it is at full droop, so I'm hoping that we can get it back to where it needs to be once I get the weight of the truck on. The other thing I noticed is that the shock's going to be the limit strap. Not that I really have to worry about it. I'm not jumping this thing or wheeling it, so but that's a little concerning as well. But other than that, it is in there. I did have to move the axle forward about an inch to get it to set into place. But got lots of clearance between the oil pan and the differential now. Mission accomplished. So I'm a little concerned about this side, because if I had to move the axle forward a little bit, I'm not really sure about my anti-wrap bar and my steering. Granted, I have the ability to cut it and weld it back together and all that. I just really wasn't terribly interested in doing that if I could get away with not doing that. I'm probably gonna have to make a Z-bar anyway, because that thing's gonna be at a hell of an angle. All right, well, let's see. Oh, and the other thing I had to do too is I had to cut this bracket here, because the brake line's nowhere near long enough. So what I'm going to do is refasten it to somewhere along here. Once I get the tire on and make sure the tire's not going to hit any of this stuff, then I will get that rectified. But in the meantime, let's get the other side together and see what happens. All right, I got the driver's side done. So the shock absorbers are definitely going to be a limiter strap. I had to put the weight on the vehicle to get the bushings and all that shit in there. Looks like I'm gonna have to do a Z-bar for the drag link. I got plenty of clearance between the diff and the oil pan now, so I don't have to sweat a load on that anymore. So yeah, once those front springs settle in, it should be all right. It's stink bugging right now a little bit, but once they settle in, this thing should be all right. Just a super tiny lift, just enough to get it done. Not too bad.